Good evening, I'm Charlie Gaddy. We'll be bringing you more of the devastating story of the storm that hit Wake and several other counties in North Carolina today. 4 people are dead, countless millions of dollars in damages. Wake County was not the only county involved. Scenes from Nash County and some of the other places around our state. Coming up next on WRAL-TV News.
WRAL-TV, Raleigh, Durham, Fayetteville. From WRAL-TV, Charlie Gaddy, Adele Arakawa, Bob DeBardelaben, and Tom Suter with North Carolina's leading news team. This is WRAL-TV News.
There was so much lighting, it was almost like daytime out here, and I could actually see it come through the clouds. It's like a steamroller coming through, and it sounded like about 100 freight trains at one time.
Nah, don't worry about it. Oh, get back a little bit with the camera. Get back a little bit. You got orders already? A man on here. Pop the steamer. Pop the lane. Get that blanket. Cover him.
It's a nightmare.
It's a nightmare and a miracle that we're alive.
Yes. But I heard a boom and I heard a crash toward the front of the store, the windows, and I knew I couldn't make it to the back of the store. I started running, but I knew I wouldn't make it, so I got to the toys and I ducked under, and that's when everything started falling. I'm just lucky to be alive.
Coming in, watch this. Number 1, wait for it. Right. Yeah, okay. Know where you going?
Ladies and gentlemen, what you have just seen was indeed the beginning of a nightmare. As you know, tornadoes have struck Wake, Franklin, Nash, Halifax, and Northampton counties without warning. Pamlico and Dare counties were also hit, but Wake County got the worst of it. I'm speaking to you from the Westwood subdivision, which is just off Creedmoor Road, and let's just take a look here in this live picture. In those bedrooms up there last evening at this time, people were asleep. In fact, I talked with the young lady who slept in that bedroom on the far side, and she related to me earlier today that when she heard the roar, she grabbed her little dog and headed downstairs and dived into a closet. She did not get a scratch. It is incredible how many people escaped this, but not all did. 4 people have lost their lives, 2 in Wake County and 2 in Nash County. The stories are heartbreaking. The tornado that killed a Nash County couple also left 2 children with no parents and no place to live tonight. Roy Alston and his wife Mary were found with their arms wrapped around each other. Their 2 children with them in their mobile home survived it. Then there's the story of the 8-year-old girl, Janet Barnes, the 3rd grader who was described as everybody's friend. Also killed another youngster, 14-year-old Pete Fulgham of Raleigh. When it was all over, more than 150 people were sent to area hospitals for cuts and bruises. Many of them were released. Homes and businesses were demolished. And tonight we're going to show you the devastation. We're going to show you the path of the storm. We're going to talk with a great number of people who were in this storm and survived it. Good Lord, look at that. Walking into this neighborhood is very much like walking into a Hollywood set that is built for a horror movie. The difference is this is real. The people aren't actors. They are doing the best they can to cope. Some recounted the moments they will never forget.
About 1 o'clock or so, we woke up and heard a loud sound like a great huge hive of bees. And Hazel said it was a tornado, or she thought it was. And we went to get the kids, and we got out in the upper stairwell, and top came off the house. We just got down on our hands and knees and covered each other up with our bodies and stayed there.
Wake County Sheriff John Baker took me into this neighborhood that he had visited earlier this morning. A tornado does strange things. It will devastate one home and leave the next one practically untouched.
I say it's amazing how it can take the roof right off and leave the books on the shelves.
The neighbors were looking out for each other. Those whose homes were spared were offering shelter to the others. Believe it or not, nearly all of the people who live here made it through with few injuries. Not far from where I'm standing now is an apartment complex called Cooper's Pond Apartments. It's located just off Highway 70, in fact, in that direction. Carol Sparge was there today and talked with a number of people who say they're lucky to be alive tonight.
It was as though a giant stomped on this apartment building, crushing 12 apartments, leaving people like Lisa Saylor homeless. Saylor calls for her 15-year-old cat without much luck. But Saylor knows the tornado could have been much worse.
I just can't believe how bad it looks. I can't believe everybody made it out.
The tornado hit the Cooper's Pond Apartments at the worst time. 1 in the morning, most people were asleep. Teddy Coutreau's crawled to safety wearing only a towel.
Here's my mom. I know she's freaking out. I'm all right, Mama. There's my apartment right over there. I'm all right. I'm alive.
Residents say one bright spot in all of this was that the approaching tornado was so loud that many of the residents heard it and had time to get out safely.
Amazingly, only 3 residents are injured, no one seriously. But emotionally, it's something people here won't forget.
Because I saw all this debris and all this stuff coming towards me, so it was devastating.
And as if it's not enough to lose your home, the tornado damaged 50 cars, snapping a lamppost like a toothpick. And all day long, people look on in disbelief, wondering how anyone could survive a building toppling on them. Most agree it had to be a miracle. Carol Sparge, WRAL-TV News, Raleigh.
As we said, Wake County got the worst of it, but when that storm left here, it skipped over to Franklin, Nash, and Halifax County. Nina Schlossberg was there today and learned of more personal stories.
They got some chainsaws coming this way. Come on, man.
It is 3 a.m. and members of the Enfield Rescue Squad attempt to cut their way through downed power lines and tumbled lumber to Beaver Dam. In Ida, a cloud-draped sun eases over the general store, a community refuge. Its light brings the nightmares of the dark to life.
The tornado just went through, and I was sitting in there just rocking.
Didn't hurt my dog, though.
No, I just heard this loud noise like something rolling.
Moments later, Patricia Bailey saw glass burst from the window, heading into her children's room.
Where it went in at my baby's room, yes, that is terrifying. If my kids were there, I would not have any kids.
It is 9 a.m. in Castalia, Nash County, as Carolyn Hicks and her friend travel up a dirt path to where her cousin once lived.
Yeah, he's just in the refuge out.
Leroy Alston and his wife died when their trailer spun into the trees, leaving behind their 2 children, orphaned and homeless.
I just called everybody, and the only person answered was my sister.
I disconnected, but I'll get word from Billy.
By 10:30 a.m. on State Road 1004, work is underway on dead power lines.
You have to know what you're doing. You might get on some wire that might be still hot.
Across the road, a house stands on its point, wrecked. The neighbors behind plug away at cleanup, not surprised.
No, when I was crawling all over the glass last night looking for them, I knew what I had. A mess.
At noon, off Highway 56, hundreds of thousands of chickens squawk hungry, trapped inside the remains of 8 leveled poultry houses. The mangled tin, a sign of destruction few can comprehend.
I heard the wind just before it happened, but no, I didn't really pay it no mind.
Nina Schlossberg, WRAL-TV News, Nash and Halifax counties.
Well, it's getting cold out here now, and as you probably have surmised by this time, there are hundreds of people who have no place to go. However, shelters are being provided for them. In Raleigh, one of those places is Martin Middle School. Let's go there now for a live report, and Stuart Scott. Stuart, what can you tell us?
Well, Charlie, like you said, in the wake of a disaster like this, there are a few bright spots. One of them are shelters that the Red Cross provides. Now, all day today, folks have been coming here to the Martin Middle School. They've been coming for warmth, for shelter. Domino's Pizza has provided food. A&P Food Stores has also provided food. All the children here, they are playing games at all places around. As you can see behind me, some of the parents are resting on mattresses and bedding and pillows, a little makeshift beds that are being provided as long as anyone needs it. Now, I'll tell you this much, this is not a first-rate hotel accommodation. But earlier today, I was in an apartment where the entire roof and 2 walls had been blown completely off an apartment. It was like I was standing outside, and I was actually right in the middle of what used to be someone's living room. So as you can imagine, folks here are lucky to have a roof over their heads tonight. Now, this isn't the only place that shelter is being provided. Aside from Martin School, St. Mark's Methodist Church on Six Forks Road is another place where shelter is being provided. And for the folks in Wake Forest who need it, the fire department there also has a shelter. So, Charlie, there is help available. Some citizens have even come by here with no one asking, bringing food, bringing blankets, bringing anything that they can. It's one big, huge help effort. Charlie?
WRAL and the American Red Cross are urging those who need help to call this number, 833-3017. Again, the number is 833-3017 if you need help. Nearly 2,000 Carolina Power and Light customers in the Raleigh area are without electricity. A spokesperson for the company said power to some of the homes may be restored as early as 8 o'clock tonight. CP&L says each home has to be inspected by city building inspectors before power is supplied to a damaged home, and of course they're worried about fire. One of the biggest problems is getting to the homes that are the most heavily damaged. A CP&L spokesperson also said that they will be working throughout the night. We have seen them out here. They've been on the job all the way through. A quick check in several other counties shows about 400 people in Franklin without power tonight, and about 200 people in Nash County are without power. You know, it's hard to believe that in a situation like this that someone would want to take advantage of it. But believe it or not, tonight, Bill Leslie tells us that the law enforcement people are worried about looters. Bill is standing by with a live report now from the Town Ridge Shopping Center, where the Kmart and a number of businesses have been leveled. Bill?
Charlie, this is a looter's paradise here at Kmart, as you can see behind me here. It was literally ripped apart by the storm that came here through here about 1:15 this morning. You can see some of the merchandise strewn about, videotapes, coffee mugs over here. You've got makeup over here, all sorts of merchandise strewn about. Police say 2 men attempted to take some money from the store earlier today. They were in the rear of the store trying to take some money out, and more than 50 police officers are now on the scene trying to secure the area to make sure that no more looters try to get in.
Well, it has not been a problem so far. There are going to be units in this area on a 24-hour basis for the duration until we get things straightened out and get things under control.
Sergeant Gardner says he doesn't anticipate any additional problems tonight, but it may be anywhere from 8 to 10 months before they resurrect this store and get it back to where it was before the storm came through this morning, Charlie.
Bill, thank you very much. And Bill, as you perhaps know, this came in late this afternoon. The city of Raleigh is organizing a community watch citizens group. That group will go out and try to help protect property against looters, and the meeting is scheduled for tonight in City Hall. As a matter of fact, it started just not long ago. Several people asked me today as I traveled about, and last night too, why weren't we warned of this impending tragedy? And Faith Murphy found out some answers to that, and some may surprise you.
Certain that there were tornadoes involved, but the survey crews are out there right now to determine if there was more than one tornado or if it was part of the same tornado.
By the time the National Weather Service realized there was tornado activity in Raleigh, the damage had been done. Weather forecasters here had been following thunderstorms over the weekend.
But we didn't anticipate anything as violent as what occurred during the night.
Forecasters depend on radar systems across the state to locate such activity, but at the airport the radar system is out of service.
Palacier says even if RDU radar was operational, it wouldn't have done much good. That's because he says the tornado activity here occurred directly overhead. And he says within a 10-mile radius, local radar is virtually useless.
Because the radar beam reflects off the neighboring buildings and ground and trees. And so we have to rely on another radar for surveillance close in to our own radar.
But no radar was able to detect the tornado in Raleigh until it hit. Afterwards, surrounding counties were warned it was coming.
And I was notified that there'd already been impact in one or more areas of Wake County.
This is a map of the civil defense and fire sirens that Donovan's office sets off during emergencies. But even if he had time to set them off, not very many people would have heard them. In the area of damage, there's only one, a fire siren, with a range of about 2,000 feet. Donovan admits the county needs wider range sirens to replace the post-World War II devices it now has. But with tornadoes coming less than every 4 years, it's not likely to happen soon. Faith Murphy, WRAL-TV News, Raleigh.
Now, we have been told that free legal advice is available for victims of the tornadoes. The North Carolina Bar Association's Young Lawyers Division says it's willing to help, and if you need any advice on property damage, legal papers, or any other questions, you may contact them, and they've given us a number to pass along to you. It is 828-0561. That is 828-0561. Ask for Disaster Legal Services. Well, we have more stories on the devastating storm coming up for you, and we're going to be checking in with Bob in the Weather Center in just a moment. Well, I'm not an expert on the weather, but I can tell you this, the temperature is really dropping out here, and Bob DeBardelaben is an expert on the weather. He's been watching the weather patterns, and let's go to him now to see what's happening. Bob?
Charlie, it is going to get colder. There's no doubt about it. The cold front has moved off the coast now, and there's quite chilly air moving in behind the storm system. Let's start out and look at an interesting statistic. 71 was the high, which occurred about midnight last night. And then the temperature bottomed out with the low so far at 46. But currently we're at 49 degrees, the humidity 42%, pressure going up from 29.74. It is still rather breezy, westerly winds at 14, and some fluctuation in our lake levels with Carr and Gaston doing the rising. We move on to a couple of very interesting things now to show you. And one of them is our surface weather chart to show you that the front now is along the coast and it is moving out and we're starting to get some clearing. The one thing that all of this has taught us here in the Weather Center and should teach everybody that is as good as we think we are, Mother Nature can really play some very, very bad tricks on us at times. It is a science that we have not governed and conquered as yet. We're working on it, however. Another front will be due in here by midweek and could give us some scattered showers. And we put all of this in motion early this morning with all of the cloud cover, and it starts to move out right now. Gale warnings are up along the coast, a frost warning for the central and southern coastal area. It has snowed somewhat up around Avery, Ashe, and Watauga counties, about 1.5 inches, but that's about it. Here comes the other system trailing in behind us. So by Wednesday now, that frontal system will be starting to move into the mountains, not near as strong as what we had last night and early this morning, but apparently we might get a few scattered showers with it as the system moves across the state. Now, let's check our temperatures around North Carolina and show you that it is really starting to chill out. Look at Asheville, 34. We're at 49, 50 at Fayetteville, and just slightly warmer, a degree or so along the coast. And it is going to bottom out tonight under mostly clear skies. We'll see temperatures head on down into the 30s overnight, 26 degrees. Tomorrow morning, sunshine, and temperatures not doing much at all with the sun because we're only looking for a high tomorrow of 50, partly cloudy with diminishing winds, down to 26 again tomorrow night. So a review of the 5-day forecast gives us some clouds tomorrow and Wednesday with that frontal. We don't show the rain up there, but we do anticipate it in on Wednesday night probably. Then clearing, again, cool air in here on Thursday and Friday. Saturday, just to show you that the holiday spirit is still with us, we'll have the big Christmas parade at Newton Grove, and I'll be down there. This is probably my 10th year. Hope everybody comes out. Our picture tonight is from Stacy Schmitz from Zebulon, a nice fall picture with the kids playing in the leaves. Okay, Charlie, we'll be back with more news and lots of other things right after this message.
Change. Seen a lot of it during my 40 years as Progressive Farmer. Take Coker Seed. Since the turn of the century, they've been known for fine service to the South. And now they're joining Northrop King. It means even better service, more products, and greater research. Quite a change. Coker, now part of Northrop King. But it just goes to show you, some changes are for the better.
Well, when something happens as it did today that involves so many people who need help, a lot of people turn to the Red Cross, and a lot of those volunteers were out today. Craig Marbury followed one of those volunteers around today and has that story.
Eat it later, because you know you ain't got no lights to cook. Eat. We want you to have it, because it's another mobile. When this get empty, another one's coming up here for supper. Thank you.
Naomi Cannon is 68 years old. She's a Red Cross volunteer who comes out of retirement when disaster strikes.
It makes me feel sad, and then it makes me feel good again that we can do something to help.
A tornado has left the Caliber Oaks apartments in shambles.
Can you sandwiches right around here?
Naomi Cannon is helping victims recover by offering food and friendship. Today, her efforts are duplicated by nearly 100 other Red Cross volunteers.
Do what we can.
We were there this morning for moral support when those people got there and had no one to talk to, and well, most of them were in shock. We were there to talk to them and just to kind of stay with them, which seems to have meant a whole lot to them.
Fresh fruit, I just love it. You know, you're doing something for people.
Naomi Cannon says she's here because she cares. She can't give victims shelter or clothing or money, so she gives them a little of her time and a lot of her heart.
Red Cross van, get hot food, fruit, sandwiches, coffee, drinks, everything. Don't cost you one thing. We come out here to help you, and you're welcome.
Craig Marbury, WRAL-TV News, Raleigh.
Now, we repeat, if you think you need assistance, we have a telephone number, the Red Cross and WRAL urge you to call the number 833-3017. That's 833-3017. Well, last night's tornadoes became today's insurance claims. If you are insured, file a claim by calling your agent and not the insurance company that covers you. But if you rent and don't have renter's insurance policy, don't expect anyone else to pay for the things that you lost in the storm.
If they don't have any insurance, the landlord is not carrying the insurance for them. So they're out of luck. They need to buy renter's insurance.
We are told that renter's insurance costs about $100 a year for $20,000 worth of coverage, but most people who rent do not have the policies, and we're not selling the policies. We're just simply giving you the information. Well, today was to have been Adele Arakawa's last day on the air with us, and of course we're sorry about that, but we had such an emergency, Adele, that we had to keep you on another 24 hours.
Well, that's certainly understandable, Charlie, and it has been a busy day. It's one of those unfortunate things that you really hate to see happen. It truly indeed is. But we're going to turn to sports now and Bob Holliday and find out what's going on there.
Dale, it's the first busy week of college basketball. We'll talk about State, Duke, and Carolina when we come back. Carolina State plays basketball at home tonight. The Wolfpack extremely impressive Saturday in doubling the score against Columbia. But the State team could get a test tonight. Now, the name Akron is not well known in basketball circles, but Coach Jim Valvano says tonight's opponent is a Division II power that returns everyone from last year's team. After tonight, by the way, State will not play at home again until December 20th. North Carolina, playing a difficult December schedule, is at home tonight against Stanford. We'll have highlights of both the Wolfpack and the Tar Heels tonight at 11. Duke commemorated the new Cameron Indoor Stadium this weekend with a one-sided win over the Citadel. Now, this summer, the university remodeled its stately old basketball arena and added several hundred more seats. The Citadel found, it's harder than ever to win in Cameron Indoor Stadium. Not only does the building have a new look, Duke's team has added several more big players. The Devils now have 6 guys, 6'10" or taller. You got to like that if you're a Blue Devil.
It's nice come game time, but it's not nice when you have to, beat each other up day in and day out in practice. But I think as far as the game goes, when you said, a 6'10" guy coming in for a 6'10" guy, we're really big.
And the newest AP poll is not out yet, but we should have that at 11.
Okay, we'll look for that then. Bob, let's go back out now to Charlie Gaddy. Charlie?
Adele, let's just look around here just a minute. These cars were thrown around like toy cars in that storm last night. And this that looks like snow or mud spattered over everything out here is actually insulation. That's what the storm was blowing around, and it's sticking to everything out here. It looks like snow or mud. The cars sometimes were jammed right up against the buildings. You know, the miracle, I believe, is the fact that so many people survived this storm. It is incredible when you look at this to think that people could have come out of these places alive, but they did. I was also impressed with the fact that a great number of people these days, since we've had some devastating tornadoes in the last few years in North Carolina, remember the rules. So many people told me that if they were upstairs, they came downstairs. They tried to dive in a closet or go to the basement and stand under an archway. So people are getting onto the precautionary parts of this, and perhaps that's what saved so many lives. At 7 o'clock, we'll have a special report on the storm. We hope you will join us for that. In the meantime, I'm Charlie Gaddy, thanking you for watching. Stay tuned now for world and national news up next on CBS. Good night.